Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Neha. I make video on tech and my life in the UK. In today's video, we are going to learn about HOC, which is also known as higher order components. In this video, I will start with the theory part and then we will go to the coding part. Before I start this video, I would like to request you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do it. If you like the work I am doing, I would request you to share in your network. If you are a student, please share at your university or college. If you are working professional, please share in your organization. And also, if you can like and share in your network, basically your social media, that would be great. So with this, let's start with the theory part of today's video. So what is HOC? So if we will go on the official documentation of React, it says a higher order component is a function that takes a component and returns a new component. If you will look at the syntax, it says higher order component on the right side. We are passing a wrap component and it will give us the enhanced component. If it is not making sense, it's fine. In this video, I'm gonna help you to understand this part. So for this, we need to take a step back and understand about ReactJS. If you are coming from a different programming apart from ReactJS, you will amazed to know or shocked that there is no inheritance concept in ReactJS. Now, inheritance is very important. The reason is because of the reusability. Now, in ReactJS, if there is no inheritance, then how we can do reusability? React works on the concept of composition. In this, we break our application into small components and then we reuse these components. If you already know React, you must be aware of this concept, but you must be thinking why I'm talking about this. The reason is because in React.js, the reusability comes from the component. But what about the logic of the within the components? You can share the header multiple times, but if there is any logic of the code of the header, how we can share it? Now, if you are gonna say hooks or utils, I'm very happy to tell you you are on the right track. But let's take a step back again and understand when HOC came. HOC came when there was no functional components and no hooks. So HOC was a very big thing when we were supporting class-based components. With hooks, the usage of HOC reduced, but it doesn't mean that it is a big no. HOC is still getting used. If you have used Storybook or Formica, they use HOC only. So HOC is still relevant. It just where we were using HOC for almost every code, logical code resharing. With introduction of hooks, it got split. In hooks, what we do is we do the hooks related reusability. So we do use state, use effect kind of work. In higher order component, it is more than that. In hooks, it will always return you few values. In higher order components, you will get return a new component. As you can see, it returns a new component. So I'm very happy if you're thinking that if you already thought about hooks, then you are on the right track for learning React. Okay, so we now know that in React.js to code reusability or code sharing, we have HOC, there is another hook, HOC versus hook. I already told you two difference. As we will move along with the video, I will keep discussing more about it or at the end of the video. Now let's go more inside or deep of HOC to understand it more better. So to understand HOC more better, let's go to TLDR, and this is how I remember HOC. I'm a Captain Marvel movie fan. So how Carol become a Captain Marvel? She got exposed to light speed engine. So and then she got power and become Captain Marvel. So here light speed engine is basically an HOC where we have passed Carol, which is a component, and in return it gave us Captain Marvel with powers. So here the powers could be your props, or whatever the methods you want to pass. So this is the analogy I remember for HOC, that Carol became Captain Marvel. Carol was a simple component. Lightspeed engine was HOC, and it returned us Captain Marvel with powers. So now again, just to re-explain this, you have a component, and in that component you want to enhance that component, or you want to do the code resharing, then you will be using HOC, and in return it will give you a new component. Now let's look at the code syntax for this. Whenever you have a HOC, you have to start it with. This is the most important naming convention, so that the developers who are working with you, they can understand that this particular component is a HOC. So always start with lowercase, and then it requires a component, and if you have props, additional props, you can send, but it requires a component. Now what it will do is it will return you a function. So we are returning a function, and we are returning it with the name with power. You can change it to something else. I'm keeping it same. The only difference is this is uppercase. And then the props I got, I'm just checking if props is equal to Carol, do some powers or some magic here, some logic, and then we are returning this component. So this component which came here, we are returning it, and we are passing the powers here. So this is your HOC. This is just a skeleton I'm sharing. We will go into the code to understand it more. Now the component, how you can use it. Your rest of the component will remain the same as you are writing. But when you want to use HOC, what you need to do is you need to import your HOC with power and wrap your component, pass the prop if you have. If you don't have, it's fine. And the new component which returned will be exported, and then you can reuse it. You can use it. So this is how your HOC looks like. Rest of the things is same. The only thing is the component which you want to pass in HOC, you have to import your HOC there, and the name of the component get changed because now you are wrapping it with a HOC. So just to take a step back, revise before we jump into the code. What HOC is? HOC is basically a function that take a component and returns a new component. This actually help you. Here you can add the logic which you want the components to share between them, or you want to add some more logic which every component should have. Then you will be writing it there, and then you can return it, and the component which want to consume it, they can consume it. Okay, so let's move to our code part, and what we are gonna do is we are gonna do a very simple example. So we have two file, counter and counter1. All they are doing is just changing the state of the counter. Now you must be thinking this I can do with the hook or something, but I wanted to show you doing it by HOC, and then you can think about different examples, like setting up the themes, sending a message or some permissions, all those things. We will talk about that how you can use it. So in counter and counter1, this code is same. Now I want to make a HOC of this. So the file we need to make it with counter.jsx. Now here what we need to do is, first let me import React, and because we are gonna use state, so I will use state here. And now const with counter, we need a component, so I'm writing wrapped component, and it will return us a function with counter. And now what I can do is I can just cut this whole code from here and put it here. Okay, and now what I can do is, so this is here, return. Now this is the component, wrapped component. Now I can pass my count here, and my increment method also here, and let's do export default. Okay, so this is how your HOC look. We are not using props, so I will remove it for now. Now here in this counter1, I want to use it. So I will do with counter. We don't need state, so I will remove it. Now here I will come const counter 1 HOC, take with counter, take this one, and now what will happen is here in the definition of counter we will get count and increment, and we can do this. Now let's go to app.js. Let me remove all this. Counter 1, let's come here, let's do this, and you can see this is working. Okay, now I want to use the same code here in counter, so I can just remove this, and all I need to do is the same thing. I will import my HOC here. I will just copy paste here, take this component here, and here now I can, because we have HOC here, so in our HOC, if you will see, we have count and increment here. We are passing those count and increment, so we are able to get access of these here. And now let's go back to app.js, import counter HOC. Let's add it here, go, and you can see it is working. So start with your HOC, that what you want here, and these are the props which every component can access. And if you will see, this is returning us the component. When you are using hooks, you are not getting component, you are getting the value which you are returning. But in this, it is more than that, it is a component which you are getting. So that's why it is this is the difference between HOC and hook. Now let's take another example where what we are going to do is we are going to use our props. We can pass the props here. So let's assume that you want the permission, so whichever component is wrapped with HOC, you want to see if you want to give that component the access or not. So just think about the authentication components. So every component which is wrapped in HOC, it will check you are an admin or not. If you are an admin, you will get the access, otherwise you will not get the access. So for this example, what I will do is I will display a message. So I will say message set message use state, and now what I will do is I will come, because now we are getting props also, so I need props here in this function. And now what I will do is I have to use effect because whenever the component is loading, I want to check the props at that time. So use effect, if permission is equal to admin, then what I want, set message you are admin, and this should run whenever the permission is changing. And then what I can do is, because now I want message to be passed, I can pass messages here. And I'm gonna talk about the props part in a bit. First let's run this. So now what I can do is with counter 1 I can send admin, and here I can get message, and I can come here and I can say message. So let's see, you are admin. If I will remove this, you can, let's refresh, that message has gone. So you can pass like this also, that what the props you can send and your HOC can also return you by checking or running the logic if you are the right person or not with the permission. If you are, you can set the state and pass that as a prop to your new component. You can do this also. Another thing what you can do is how you can use the props. So let's see, theme, set theme, use state, and I will say it's light. And now what I can do is I can go here and I can pass the theme also. So theme equals to theme, and whatever the rest, if there are any props, sorry, I can pass from here also. If I have any props, I can do that. And now let's go to counter. Now I have the access of theme, so I will pass it here, and I will come here and I will say theme. You can see light. This is counter. Counter is coming at the bottom, so that's why it is coming. So these are the things you can do with HOC. Very powerful concept. Lot of developers don't use nowadays much. This is what I feel because of hooks, definitely. But yeah, this is my opinion. But you should use HOC. As I told you, Storybook, Formica, they are using HOC concept a lot. The good thing is HOC is very powerful. Now you know that if you want to do the component level code resharing, then how you can do it. This is how you can do it. However, in hooks there is no component level resharing of the code, and in hooks most of the time you play with the already available hooks like use effect, use state, and all that. In HOC you can do more than that. However, if you are seeing this state here, it is just because in function with the hooks, these state management, everything has been eased out. But as your components get more and more complex, like right now we are just using counter and counter one, but if you will see, I have used the theme example, I have used the permission example, like authentication one. All these things you can do with the HOC. With this, I hope this video was helpful for you. I will give the link of the GitHub at the bottom of the screen. You can go check the code and use it for in your project. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.